but with that much float, it just catches a big gust of air, pops well out of the screen, and then out the back of the end zone.
Already 3 turns, now 4 turns for Doublewide this point, 3 for Revolver. It is windy out here, folks. I'd say about 25 miles an hour. Pretty hard to get those throws flat. Canner with the disc. Out of bricks distance outside the end zone. Swings it over to Sherwood on the sideline. Marked by LeMasters. Sherwood to Mac Taylor. Mac Taylor been injured all year. His first chance to come in. Puts it to the end zone. Adam Simon is there. Kieran Thomas. Played on Doublewide years ago. Then played on Chain for a number of years. Now he's back with Doublewide. There's Revolver's 4th turnover.
Yeah, Revolver defense typically known for their ball control and their ability to punch in an opportunity. And they've been struggling. I'm sure they're really regretting the opportunity that they had at the beginning of this point, right on the goal line.
There's Melicone going deep to Driscoll. Martin Cochran goes up, tees it. Now Sherwood to Simon. Back to Sherwood. Taylor, Sherwood.
Doublewide having a tough time transitioning here.
Sherwood with the inside break to Adam Simon. Revolver gets the first break of the game going downwind. Doublewide turned it over 5 times that point. Revolver tried to match him. They could only muster 4. 9 turnovers and 1 goal that point.
Yeah, after this Huck, Doublewide's offense just never really gets set. It's a lot of free throws for Revolver. And then Kieran Thomas not guarding Adam Simon, trying to come off of the poach. But Adam Simon, after 3 attempts in the end zone, finally gets it. So Revolver gonna have another chance at defense. Doublewide, now their offensive line going downwind. For the game, we got inside Revolver's huddle. We're gonna take a look at what the coach was trying to bring to Revolver.
Confidence, right? We've won these games in the past, and we've done it with our team unity, right? We've done it with effort, right? We've done it with discipline. And the last is it's about will. You got to go out and want it.
Team unity, effort, discipline, and will. D-line for Revolver, Robbie Cahill, Josh Wiseman, Ashlyn Joy, Bart Watson, Cassidy Rasmussen, Bo Kittredge, and Russell Wynn. There's a hammer from Brody Smith, not wasting any time, puts it up to Cole Sullivan, first-year player on the team. Sullivan doesn't quite read it. Sails about 3 feet over his head. A pretty large throw from Brody. Gibson's there. Maybe could have made a play on it. Not quite.
Doublewide seemed to just be setting up their 4-man cup defense. We have 4 big, tall Florida players, former Florida players in the cup.
That's 3 Florida players, and then the other player is Kevin Richardson out of North Texas. Here's Buddy Cahill trapped on the sideline. Throws the scuba over to Rasmussen. Low inside to Wiseman, now on the sideline with Wynn. Doublewide switching the trap. Little confusion as to whether Rasmus was in. He is in. Hammers up. Gibson is there. And Bo Kittredge goes up two-handed to make the play. Tries to turn over Russell Wynn.
Russell Wynn, great heads-up play. Disc falling to the ground. He turns around and gets a nice grab.
Contorts his body.
What a read by Bo Kittredge. It's on the hammer, two-handed grab. From our replay, I think Russell Wynn is clearly up. Observers not making a ruling, so the disc is going to go back to Bo Kittredge in the center of the field.
Kittredge to Joy. Joy puts it to Wynn. Wynn scores. Revolver takes the second break of the game. Pushes their lead to 2. Doublewide not handling the win very well. That was a 1-throw turnover. Brody Smith with the hammer.
Well,
seemed like a
Doublewide's
punt.
Yeah, Doublewide's offense that entire time was set up to put that 4-man cup on the goal line. I don't think they had any intention of working the disc downfield or going for a score. They had 3 receivers, but no one was a real viable target. Brody was throwing that thing no matter what, which with the defensive line that they had with the big, tall players, it's a good strategy. I wonder if next time on offense, they'll try to play a little bit more confidently on the downwind side. Revolver's defense, though, looking a lot more smooth on that upwind point than they were on the downwind.
O-line for Doublewide, trying to get some momentum, get their first point in the game. Thomas, Melicone, LeMasters, Cook, Nattenberg, Loscorn, and Driscoll. Mark Sherwood with the big outside-in pull. Lands in the center of the end zone. Nattenberg right to the front line to Melicone. Melicone to Nattenberg. Nattenberg pumps the huck. Driscoll was streaking deep. Taylor was guarding him. Maybe Nattenberg didn't like the matchup. That throw, that flick huck up that sideline is going to be the most difficult throw to throw this game. Thomas up the line to Driscoll. Driscoll marked by Taylor.
Pick called on the stack. That Driscoll-Mac-Taylor matchup is going to be a hot one to watch all day. Will Driscoll, of course, spent his summer on the Next Gen tour bus. Mac Taylor, well-known defender, great for covering big receivers and as well as throwers.
Canner almost a layout D. Nattenberg to Loscorn. Loscorn puts the flick. Looking for LeMasters. LeMasters can't come up with it. Turnover down in the Revolver end zone. Adam Simon picks up, marked by Thomas. Revolver with a 3-handler set. Taylor out in the lane. Driscoll not playing too tight. Taylor puts it up. Driscoll with the hand block on Mac Taylor. Now Loscorn with it. Loscorn marked by Levy, John Levy. Pick called.
Doublewide stack all over the field right there. They're still playing vertical. They're really going to need to get themselves set up in the middle of the field.
Yeah, they need to clean up that stack. Right now they're only allowing 10 yards to cut in on each side. Kieran Thomas takes the eye off it. Driscoll's tracking it. Really a phenomenal grab by Driscoll. Sherwood sprints to the line. Swings to Mac Taylor. Now Simon's Colorado College teammate. Comes to Levy. Taylor with it on the sideline, marked by Driscoll. Taylor the cross field throw to Zach Travis. Now Chicken with it right outside the end zone. And Adam Chicken Simon finds John Levy. Revolver opens the game.
3 breaks.
3 breaks. Three breaks to open a game. Revolver not messing around this tournament.
Yeah, I'm just still very confused by the decision. I assume it was the decision of Doublewide of choosing their offense to start off going upwind. It it seems like it set them up for a quick break on the first point.
Well, did they choose to go upwind no matter what, and then Revolver decided? Because they could have gone either way, right?
Well,
if you either get direction or you get possession, you choose one of them. So I assume that they took offense, in which case Revolver would have chose to play defense downwind.
Of course, but then that choosing offense, knowing that the team can put your offensive line on the downwind side,
it's true,
would be kind of foolish. It would appear that Revolver would have chose defense.
Maybe Doublewide thought the game was going to be close at halftime, and they wanted to start with the disc on defense,
have that advantage
side
at halftime.
Low pull from Ashland Joy. Garrett at midfield, his Florida College teammate. Now Kevin Richardson, marked by Bo Kittredge. Finds number 13, Dalton Smith. Gibson, Garrett, just past the brick, 20 yards out. Hammer goes up, and hammer goes out. Garrett, first-year player on Doublewide, has not played with the combination of Kurt Gibson and Brody Smith since 2006 when they won the college national champions. It is windy. It is very, very windy here.
And Revolver's defense going upwind for the second time, looking for their fourth break in a row.
Bart Watson, now Kittredge putting it deep to Josh Wiseman. Dalton Smith trailing. Wiseman to Robbie Cahill. Cahill looking for a dump, looking for something, puts it up to Kittredge. Wynn catches it. Cahill called foul.
I think Kittredge is calling the foul.
Kittredge. That's Jared Wolf marking him.
It'll be interesting to see how the observer rules. If there was contact made, you have to go into the discussion of whether or not the disc was playable for Kittredge. It seemed to have popped up over his head early.
Kittredge is pretty fast. He might have been able to track that one down. Of course, Wolf is giving up at least 5 inches to the taller Kittredge. Looks like ruling on the field. Foul, no contest. Disc remains with Kittredge. Now Wiseman with it. Smith. Then Wiseman finds Robbie Cahill. Revolver coming out swinging. Opens the game with 4 breaks. And that first point, we saw 9 turnovers combined between the two teams, but Revolver seems to have cleaned up their offense a lot since then.
Yeah, and one thing that is also worth noting, Revolver's defensive line, when their defense has to play upwind, has been a lot of their offensive stars. We saw Robbie Cahill out there, Bart Watson and Bo Kittredge, and Ashland Joy. All 4 of those players had been playing a lot of offense earlier in this season. And now they're playing on the defensive line. Of course, that might just be because they're rolling off the brakes, but I think there's a strategy to throw in your strong offensive players on an upwind defensive point.
Yeah, definitely. Watching the Rhino and Sockeye game in the previous round, Sockeyes, Matty Zemmel had not been playing a lot of points, but then when they were going upwind on D, he's able to put a lot of spin on those throws. He's one of those players that can really throw well in strong wind like this. So it's definitely a strategy to put in your better throwers when you're going upwind, players that are capable of making those throws.
Not to say that Revolver's typical defensive line isn't capable of making those throws.
Right, but you want your best throwers in when it's blowing 30 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. All right, there's Melicone to Cook to Thomas, moving the disc. Gain 20 yards. Over to Cook. Cook just out of the reach. Nattenberg Turnover, Revolver with a chance for 5 breaks. Taylor puts it up to Cochran. It sails over his head. Cochran and Taylor, of course, played together at University of Colorado's Mama Bird.
70 yards to go for Doublewide's offense.
Loscorn with it, marked by Simon. Loscorn with the scoober to Nattenberg. Nattenberg falls over, looking for Cole Sullivan. Sullivan can't track it down. Canner playing D, had good position.
And no foul on the throw, surprisingly.
Surprising. Sherwood on the sideline finds Taylor. Taylor to Sherwood. Sam Canner saves possession. Doublewide players think it's down. Going to be a ruling. You know, I think a big reason why Revolver seemed like they weren't as strong this year is the injury to Mac Taylor. We didn't see him competing at full strength. He was maybe at 80% at Labor Day. Him and Sherwood was also not playing. Also didn't see Josh Wiseman. Those are 3 players that have had a huge piece in Revolver's run to success.
On the replay, we see the disc is up. And the observers agree. They give the catch to Sam Canner. Now Kawaoka back to Canner.
That's a pick. Sherwood totally cuts off David Melicone, cutting up line. Sherwood going back to try and, cuts off Nattenberg. Trying to save possession from Canner. Sherwood marked by Sullivan. 2 physical players, both number 14. Canner finds Simon. Loscorn, nearly a second layout D. Simon to Cochran. And Cochran finds Adam Simon. Adam Simon scores his 2nd goal of the game. Revolver jumps out to a 5-0 lead.
This is incredibly unexpected.
Completely. You wouldn't think at the beginning of this game that any team was going to go down 5-0. Thought it was going to be a dogfight the whole way, but Revolver just playing their game. Team unity, discipline, effort, and the last one, will. They're definitely meeting all of those goals.
Also kind of surprising, Doublewide hasn't taken a timeout. I think as a team they realize what mistakes that they made and what adjustments that they need, but a lot of times you take a timeout just to stop the offense of the defense, or to stop the momentum of the defense.
Yeah, but Doublewide not electing to do so. D-line for Revolver, Rasmussen, Cahill, Watson, Kittredge, Joy, Wynn, and Schlag. Again going with their commonly seen offensive line playing defense. There's Garrett putting it to Kevin Richardson. Kevin Richardson stops the bleeding. Skies Russell Wynn. Doublewide finally gets on the board this game.
Number 1, Tim Garrett for the nice put to the end zone.
Tim Garrett played his last few years on Sockeye. Now plays on Doublewide, puts the flick, rides the win. Kevin Richardson did a good job of maintaining offensive positioning, not allowing Wynn to get a beat on that disc.
Doublewide 1, Revolver 5.
Yeah, and it's great to see Doublewide kind of go back to the game that they're used to playing. They are a team on offense that likes to huck it a lot and have strong receivers, and especially when they're on that downwind side, it's good to open that up to their advantage. So the wind dying down a bit, at least temporarily. We have gusts, it seems. But maybe this will be a good advantage for Doublewide to get a break back. We see on their D-line Andrew Walsh, Brody Smith, Jared Wolf, Kevin Richardson, Tim Garrett, Kurt Gibson, and Rory Orloff rounds out that line. Garrett, Smith, and Gibson sharing the field. Sure, that's going to be a pleasure to watch if Doublewide is able to get the turn. We see a junky look.
Two players down. That's Jared Wolf. Who is that? Is that Wiseman? Josh Wiseman? Looks like one's holding his foot. Can get a look at what happens. Looks like Wolf stepped on Wiseman. There's definitely a collision. So Wiseman was trying to hold his ground. Doublewide players grounding Jared Wolf.
So we are bringing you the second round coverage of power pools, a bit of how the power pools work here in the championship. First, there are 2 tiers of power pools. We have been watching the top tier, where the top 2 teams in pools A, B, C, and D advance to pools E and F. We are now in pool F, so it's the top 2 teams in B and D. The bottom 2 teams of those 4 pools from day 1 go to power pools G and H. You carry over your results from the common opponent. So Revolver has already played Ring of Fire in their pool, so those results carry over, and they'll play 2 games against Doublewide and Bravo. They had already beaten Bravo today. The top 3 teams in E and F automatically advance to quarterfinals. The bottom team from E and F has to play the top team from G and H in a pre-quarters game. So if you get hit to bump down to that bottom pool, you essentially have to win out to give yourself a chance to play in the pre-quarters and quarters. Now back to the action. Doublewide getting the disc. Gibson picking up. Centers to Garrett, back to Gibson.
The pick call downfield.
Mark Sherwood is poaching well off Brody Smith into the lane. I'm sure Kurt Gibson is going to go all the way around. He doesn't, elects to go deep. And Nick Schlag is there to eat up the easy pass. And Ashlyn Joy trying to find Bo Kittredge, throws it right into the hands of Tim Garrett. And Doublewide's defense on their way to another break. Brody Smith with Schlag all over him. On contest, coming in at 0, Doublewide past the half field point. Smith trying to go upfield to Garrett. Bites down into the wind. Now Revolver's offense in possession. Wiseman.
Brody Smith has 2 throws on the day, both resulting in turnovers.
And Cassidy Rasmussen gets open, tries to jump into the end zone, and drops the disc, thinking a little bit too much about that line, not enough about the catch.
He's more concerned about the goal than he was about maintaining possession. He was wide open. No player was going to D him. Now Gibson has it, marked by Joy. Gibson with the backhand. Brody Smith comes up, rips a backhand to Rory Orloff. Wind knocks it down. Orloff unable to close. Now Robbie Cahill will pick up, marked by Kurt Gibson. These two players played together. Of course, Kurt Gibson played with Revolver at Worlds. Revolver is going to call a timeout. We will also be taking a short break. Please join us for more action from Sarasota.
Welcome back to Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2012 Club Championships here in Sarasota, California. Revolver taking on Doublewide. Revolver with the disc, starting this point on offense. So if Doublewide is able to get the disc back and score, that's a break for them. Revolver's offense having some trouble punching the disc in this point. Up the field to Kittredge. And Kittredge reaching for Cassidy. And Rory Orloff, great position to keep Cassidy on his back.
Very physical play there. Orloff can't quite read it. He decides to go for position, creates contact. You see he just puts his head down, runs right into Rasmussen. Rasmussen almost could have called foul. It didn't seem like he was playing on the disc. He was going for a position. Rasmussen thought he should have had it, I guess. Gibson looking for Richardson. Big bid. Robbie Cahill with the D. Now Cahill on the sideline, just at midfield, marked by Richardson. Wiseman in the lane. Cahill to Schlag, to Kittredge. Kittredge inside to Joy. Inside break to Mark Sherwood. Revolver does not get broken, pushes their lead back to 5. They lead Doublewide 6-1. Gonna get some updates from other action going on in Pool F. It is tied right now with Johnny Bravo and Ring at 3-3. Winner of that game goes on to quarters. Loser goes down to the quarters play-in. The other power pool, there is Goat taking on Rhino. Actually don't have a score from that game, but winner of that game will move on to quarters in pools G and H. Chain has 2 wins in pool G and is playing Sub-Zero.
Chain is playing Furious George.
Chain is playing Furious George. And winner of that game will move on to the quarters play-in. Then in Pool H, Machine has locked up their quarters play-in. They are 2-0, having already defeated Madison Club. They defeat Truck Stop earlier this morning. They're playing Pony right now. That game has no bearing on which team goes to the play-in.
Doublewide on a downwind offensive point. Mac Taylor with the pull. Cole Sullivan picking it up. Vertical stack. Sullivan going to the front of the stack to Kieran Thomas. Revolver calling the discs down. Can't really see it from there. We'll see how the observer rules. Observer rules, disc is up. Kieran Thomas will keep it. This is off to Melicone. center of the field. I believe that's Nattenberg with the disc. Doesn't call a foul. Floats up. And Revolver in possession. A chance to get another break. So they push it to Mac Taylor, and Mac Taylor, a big flick upfield and off the hands of Nick Chapman.
Kieran Thomas was there applying pressure. It hit Chapman right in the hands, but that disc is coming down pretty fast.
Great effort in the end zone by Nick Chapman.
Difficult to close your hand on that.
Step off to that disc for Doublewide after that turn.
Doublewide now having to go the full 70. Upfield to Sullivan on the sideline. Sullivan wanting someone to go deep. Thomas in possession to Driscoll. And Driscoll going for the backhand. Bart Watson gets a hand up. Just 10 yards off where the throw goes off. Great heads up play. Bart Watson now picking it up on the sideline. Upfield to Taylor. Taylor trying to break it across the middle, catches the wind in the sideline. And Sam Canner, great play, catches the disc and toes the line. And there is a call downfield. The disc is flying. I'm very confused what's happening.
I believe Cole Sullivan is calling a travel on Sam Canner. It seemed like Sullivan created contact on the mark. The Taylor throw catches the wind and Canner toes the line.
I think Sullivan was expecting the foul call.
And then Canner gets up.
Canner
Sullivan
doesn't
clearly
call it.
leans in here.
Unless Sullivan is calling a foul.
I think Sullivan is calling travel.
Disc goes back to Canner though. Revolver keeps possession on the sideline. Canner centering pass to Mac Taylor. Taylor on the around, another point block by Driscoll. And that going to Driscoll just too far in front.
Driscoll with a bit of an eye roll, not happy with that throw. Wanted a chance to make a play on that.
It's a tough play on this wind. We've seen discs fly out the back.
Yeah,
we've seen them land short.
That disc thrown in that direction is really going to have a lot of spin if it wants to come back on that outside in forehand. Taylor has it on the sideline, marked by Driscoll. Taylor to Watson. Watson fakes the backhand huck. Watson calls foul. No contest from Driscoll, coming in on 0. Watson marked by LeMasters. Watson inside to Chapman. Chapman to Kawaoka. Travis, Canner, James across the field. Low throw to Bart Watson.
I think that might have been the first time I saw Tom James throw the disc. Maybe he's not used to the wind here. That one dives straight into the ground.
Loscorn picks up, marked by Travis.
And a timeout is called by Doublewide. They want to punch in this offensive point. So again, talking about power pools, we're gonna see where each of these teams came from. Of course, Revolver was in Pool B, top seed out of Pool B, with Ring of Fire, Machine, and Madison. Ring of Fire, since they broke seed, they were the second in the pool, so they get to move on to the power pools. Revolver's game versus Ring crosses over. Machine's game versus Madison, they go down to the lower pool. In Pool D, Doublewide was the top finisher. That pool goes to seed with Bravo finishing second. So Doublewide and Bravo's game carries over. Truck Stop and Pony drop down to the lower seed. So in our power pool F, we have the top 2 finishers, Revolver, Doublewide, Bravo, and Ring of Fire.
And in Pool H action, I misspoke earlier. Said that Machine had wrapped up Pool H, but actually Machine is playing Truck Stop, and they are leading right now 7-1.
If Machine is able to win the game, then they secure.
Then they will be able to move on to the play-in. Now back to the action. Nattenberg marked by Canner to Sullivan. On the sidelines, just at midfield. Back to Nattenberg. James poaches out in the lane. Sullivan puts it up to Kieran Thomas. Thomas goes up and posterizes Nick Chapman. A diving Zach Travis trying to make a play. Welcome back, Kieran Thomas.
Great grab by Kieran Thomas. A real veteran player on this team. Gets a good read.
Looks like he posed in the air. Almost like he knew someone was taking a picture.
So off the timeout, Doublewide able to regroup and get a quick score. Get their defensive line back on the field. Defensive line, what we saw earlier today, Smith, Richardson, Valley Renshaw is on the line, Chris Gibson, Kurt Gibson, Tim Garrett, and Ryan Bigley. The offensive line for Revolver, way down across the field from us, we see Bo Kittredge, Nick Schlag, Cassidy Rasmussen. That has to be Robbie Cahill, Jordan Jeffries getting in a point, Ashlyn Joy, and it's got to be Josh Wiseman.
Yeah.
Pull comes up from Garrett. It's going to hit on a edge and roll a little bit. Schlag picks it up, goes to Rasmussen. Rasmussen playing in a handler position. And we see a zone from Doublewide. To Cahill. Cahill, plenty of time holding the disc. Schlag is able to crash with Noah.
Kittredge about 30 yards past Kurt Gibson. Hammer over the top to Kittredge. Now Rasmussen just outside the end zone. Joy to Jeffries. Jeffries, first point of the game, ends up scoring a goal. First-year player on the team out of Stanford. Revolver takes the lead 7, Doublewide 2.
I'm not sure what happened, what broke down in that Doublewide zone. Kittredge was just left wide open behind everyone, and Schlag finds it, and on that downwind, certainly going to put it all the way across the field. Gibson must have missed him or not respecting the throw, but it sets up an easy goal for Revolver as they're able to move it around and ultimately find Jeffries in the end zone.
Actually, on that play, Doublewide's, most of their team except for 2 players was on the sideline that Kittredge was on. Or most of their players were not on the side that Kittredge was on, so they only had 2 players on that sideline. So nobody on that sideline was able to tell Gibson that Kittredge was there.
Yeah, sideline presence, very important.
Especially when playing zone defense. You have to tell the players on the field where the offensive players are. Update from Pool G. Chain Lightning is up on Furious George, 5-2.
If Chain is able to win that game, they'll advance to the pre-quarters. Revolver with the pull. Rolls near the sideline. Doublewide's offense looking to punch in another downwinder. Max Cook juking to get wide open on the underthrow. Foul on the throw, so going to go back to Loscorn. Loscorn being marked by Russell Wynn. Centers the disc to Cook. Upfield to Nattenberg. Driscoll. Thomas. Loscorn. Loscorn cut off on the around throw. Breaks it to Kieran Thomas. Kieran Thomas now on the sideline. Lefty backhand, and Cole Sullivan can't get a hand on it as it dives straight into the ground. Robbie Cahill gonna pick up, and Revolver has a chance to break this game into half. Taylor with the disc. At a high count, he just sends it downfield, and it is going to sail out of bounds.
Loscorn picks up, fakes the backhand, finds Max Cook. 10-yard gainer marked by Casino. Back to Loscorn.
A pick called in the stack. Discussion going around at the disc, probably when the count will come in. Coming in on 0, which means there had to have been a foul called. And Russell Wynn, huge point block. Loscorn calling a foul, quite possibly a double team, as he's talking to Taylor Casino over there.
I believe he's arguing that Casino turned back to throw, and Casino hit him as he wound up. Casino, of course, unaware as his back was turned. It was a foul that was upheld. Coming in on 0. Loscorn marked by Wynn. Nattenberg cuts, marked by Watson. 2 veteran players. Nattenberg pumps, looking for Cook. Cook bounces off his hand. Now Watson picks up. Watson across field to Taylor, past the diving Sullivan. Taylor air bounces to Sherwood. Sherwood back to Watson. Watson inside break to Martin Cochran, and Revolver takes half 8-2.
Revolver has got to be counting their blessings hitting Bart Watson back. It seems like his throws are not having any problems with this wind.
We do have a little bit of conversing between Nattenberg and Sherwood. Must have been over whatever the foul was.
It was probably something cutting downfield. It doesn't seem like Nattenberg is wanting it to affect the play, but a lot of times, since it is a self-officiated games, players who end up marking each other a lot will have discussions about what they think their player is doing wrong. They might not call the foul, but they'll bring it up and say, you're pushing off when you're cutting. Next time I'll call a foul, I'm just letting you know like this is happening. Trying to find that balance of where they want to play with each other.
So Revolver takes half, 8-2. We will be taking a short break. Also, before the break, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Elemental Technologies, for encoding this game, and for your viewers at home, please remember to switch streams. We will be back for second half action right here in Sarasota, Florida.